The Rockets are being forced into an impossible decision with Tari Eason as trade rumors keep including him. Today, we give you not one, but two Rockets in-season trade candidates this upcoming year. We tell you about it all here today on Rockets Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. And, of course, Tari Eason is an interesting person to talk about with the Houston Rockets for a multitude of different reasons. We'll bring that up in today's show. And there's also one other guy that is a potential trade chip in this upcoming season for the Rockets. We'll talk about him as well. But we're going to start off today's show a tad bit different. You see, Rockets Digest is a part of Digest Media. And Digest Media, we cover all four North American major sports. And we are now looking for some new content creators and even writers. So if you've ever wanted to break into the sports media landscape, well then guess what? Digest Media is for you. We have openings across the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, the MLB, and we want passionate fans about their teams who want to tell the stories around them. Now, if you're interested, we're going to pop the link up there on the screen right now, and we're also going to include it in the description, but you can head over to digestmedia.ca/join us to apply today. It's that link that you see on your screen, and it'll be in the description as well. Again, we are really excited about growing, and we cannot wait to see what all of you have got. Okay, let's go back to the Rockets talk here because it's an interesting spot for the Houston Rockets. They have made some very, very good moves in this offseason and hopefully are now in full win-now mode. Now, what comes with that? Well, it comes with maybe having some interesting and tough dilemmas with some players, and that comes with Tari Eason and Aaron Holiday, who are both, in my mind and in a new article, trade candidates for the Rockets in this upcoming season. Now, there's a couple of different reasons as to why that, but let's start off with the article below and kind of go into the deep parts of why the Rockets are in win-now mode. Rahan Brahmat of Clutch Sports says this, quote, "The Houston Rockets have never been shy about making bold moves, but the 2025 offseason took that to an entirely new level. After pulling off a jaw-dropping 7-team trade to land Kevin Durant, general manager Rafael effectively pushed all his chips to the center of the table. The Rockets, who just a season ago were being praised for developing a young, exciting core, are now operating in the win-now mode," end quote. And this is very true. We've talked about it all offseason, and Rafael Stone has even mentioned it. Right now, it is not about development. The development is there. They have gotten Alperen Şengün to a level they feel comfortable with. They have gotten Alperen Thompson to a level they feel comfortable with. Now, are they still going to grow? 100%, and that includes Tari Eason and Reed Sheppard. But win now means you have to go out there and perform to get your minutes on the court. So, again, that causes for an interesting discussion about a couple of different potential trade candidates. Now, we start with a little bit of a backstory about why these guys were picked from Rohan, again, from Clutch Sports, saying, quote, "In that context, two names stand out as potential trade candidates. Well, before the deadline. Tari Eason and Aaron Holiday each find themselves in a unique situation, whether it's looming contract negotiations or being squeezed by depth chart realities," end quote. And so there's more to talk about with each of these guys, and this all comes from an article where we basically have the ideology around why the Rockets are in this position. Now, we start by looking at this offseason roster. And you see here, extension eligible. Tari Eason and, of course, Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant can extend his extension pretty much any time. Now, there is a date for Tari Eason that we will tell you. I believe it's October 20th, in which he can sign a brand new extension before becoming a restricted free agent, I believe, in 2026. We'll get to that more and more. But either way, just more talking about why these two trade candidates are being talked about. Tari Eason, it's specifically because of the contract negotiations that we're going to mention, but also it's a very full forward position. There's Kevin Durant, there's Jabari Smith Jr., there's a potential of Josh Okogie playing the forward position. Yes, there's Dorian Finney-Smith as well. It's a very full spot for the Rockets, and if you want to go even further, technically by rule of the trade or rule of the whatever you want to call it, Alperen Thompson is a forward. We're playing him in a guard position because that was kind of always the growth, but he just drafted as a forward. That leaves little for really playing minutes for Tari Eason. And that's kind of where we have to talk about him and why he's so good for the Rockets. But maybe why it might not be enough. Quote, Tari Eason's defensive energy and positive versatility have been a cornerstone of Houston's second unit since he was drafted in 2022. He brings a rare blend of rebounding, on-ball defense, and slashing ability from the forward spot, making him the kind of player every contender needs in a playoff series, end quote. And this is correct. Tari Eason actually was a pretty underrated part of the Houston Rockets in the Warriors series and was an underrated part in the kind of last part of the season as well. And that's why if you look up Tari Eason, as I mentioned in previous videos, a lot of them are talking about why the Rockets cannot make the mistake of letting him go. But why exactly is he being mentioned so much in trade talks? Well, for a bunch of different reasons, but the big thing is because of his contract. And we had to kind of put this in a whole little section here, so I took a picture of it instead of getting it all in one quote because I think it's all needs to be on its own separate page here. However, his contractual situation complicates things. As a member of the 2022 draft class, Eason is eligible for an extension until October 20th, 2025. So there's the date. He can have an extension until October 20th. If no deal is reached by then, which it seems like it is not, he'll enter restricted free agency in 2026, a scenario that could leave the Rockets vulnerable to an expensive offer sheet from another team. Houston's salary sheet is already stacked with Kevin Durant, who will have around $55 million, and of course the extension that he'll get could be right around that area as well in this upcoming year. Fred VanVleet, $50 million, technically that is now... It's $50 million over 2 years, so it's 25, but the financial pressure makes Eason's case tricky. Do the Rockets look him up now with a potential steep price, or do they flip him for a player whose contract aligns better with their contention window, end quote. Now, I'm going to start by saying this. Tari Eason is a very capable player and a guy that the Rockets have used in a very good way. 12 points per game last season and averaged nearly 25 minutes per game. But I mentioned the minutes per game because that is the issue that I could see going forward. Tari Eason, for a guy who could potentially be, taken away from you in that restricted free agency, is it worth it if you're playing him 10, 15 minutes a game? Yes, he is a very good player. Yes, he is young. Yes, the Rockets want to keep him. But if you are in a truly win-now window and you are in, let's say, December, January area, and Tari Eason has played 15 minutes per game, 10 minutes per game, because Dorian Finney-Smith has been great. You don't need him because Jabari Smith and KD have been playing so well, and the depth is a great thing, but they've been handling the minutes really well. I'd like to think that they've had this plan for a while, and we've talked about reports about the Rockets not wanting to do anything with them for the next 3 seasons, but that becomes hard if he comes out there and only plays the minutes per game that I'm talking about, but succeeds. That's where it creates for some problems. Now, at the same time, Tari Eason is still very young, and I can't tell you for certain what exactly the rap sheet is across the league on him. Do people believe that he is a top-tier talent? Will they be willing to pay the high dollar for him? I don't know. The Rockets certainly believe in him and certainly want to pay him. However, in the situation that we're looking at with Kevin Durant most likely playing at least another 3 seasons, how do you pay Tari Eason along with Amen Thompson next season, who's going to have a new extension probably on the table? It creates for interesting dynamics. Now, I've talked about Tari Eason a lot on this channel, so I did actually want to mention the other trade candidate that was mentioned in this article, and that would be Aaron Holiday, who averaged 12.8 minutes per game last year, 5.5 points per game, and he signed a very tiny contract, about $3 million. He's 28 years old, going into his age 29 season. He is going to be a very good depth piece for the Houston Rockets, but we've had this discussion before. Is depth more important, or is top-tier talent at the top of your rotation more important? The Rockets, in the way they have handled this offseason, have been pushing it. It's depth, it's depth, it's depth. But once again, if we're talking in season here, what's to say we get to, again, December area, November area, and the point guard rotation needs more, and it needs a guy that can, maybe play a better guard. Aaron Holiday, with a $3 million salary, is an easy trade chip to kind of just pass on to somebody else. Now, we talk a little bit more about the guard position because in this article, they honestly talked more about how the depth position at the guard was actually a decent spot, which I disagree with, but this part of the of the deal, I kind of agree with. He says, with Fred VanVleet, Reed Sheppard, Amen Thompson, and of course, apparently even Kevin Durant as a functioning secondary playmaker, Holiday could find himself battling for minutes from day one, which was always the plan. In an ideal world, he'd be a reliable third guard, a plug-and-play option when foul trouble or injuries hit. But in a roster as deep as Houston's, ideal is often sacrificed for fit and opportunity cost. Now, this is the trade perspective that I believe is so key. From a trade perspective, Holiday's $3 million deal is very, very movable. It's low enough for a playoff team to absorb without gutting its roster, but high enough to help in salary matching. If Houston needs to package salaries for a bigger move, say to address backup center depth or wing scoring, Holiday could be the odd man out. And that's really the point that I'm trying to tell you here. Is Aaron Holiday a piece that I see getting a big thing? Or a big piece? No, but he's a guy that can easily, be expendable. Move him along and get a nice trade chip piece here. A quote from the article again: Holiday is the kind of trade chip that can quietly tip the scales in a multiplayer deal. In his roster fit in Houston makes him expendable if the right opportunity comes along. Now, he's also at an age, 28, where contenders would value his experience without worrying about physical decline. Expect teams like the Lakers, Bucks, or Heat to keep tabs on his availability in their guard rotation, if their guard rotations thin out, end quote. And so, when I pose this question, I ask about not just Aaron Holiday and not just Tari Eason, but really all of the Houston Rockets. Will an in-season trade be made in this upcoming year? Let me know down in the comments section. Obviously, we're towards the end of the video, so I know that y'all are the true Rockets fans, and I know that you're going to get down there and let me know if you believe this is going to happen. And hey, you want to go extra mile? Who will it be? Who will the Rockets trade in season? If you ask me, I believe they will trade Tari Eason. As sad as it is to say, and I don't want it to happen, if the Rockets are seeing that the Western Conference maybe opens up, maybe there's some injuries, or injuries on even the Rockets, then maybe it's time to realize that you could get a piece for him, or even from that ability, be able to, keep that depth that you have and know that Tari is only playing 10 minutes per game. And maybe it's better to go out there and make some trades that can get you a bunch of either more trade value for upcoming years or guys that might be able to stick around longer. Because right now, it's a very scary thought to me that Tari Eason plays, like I said, not a lot of minutes this season, and then is not going to be here with us next year. And that restricted free agency, somebody comes with a big offer, and they can take us away. That's the hard part. Now, the overarching theme and the goal for the Rockets is to, keep him at bay, keep him, a good spot for these next 3 years, make sure he's in the Houston Rockets uniform, and then pay him as soon as Kevin Durant retires. But it's always, again, will he be willing to wait? And that's kind of the last question we have is, with the Rockets in win-now mode, does Tari Eason see the outlook of the Rockets and know that his money is coming? Or does he know that he can get it right now? And if somebody's coming and offering him, what if he goes and takes it? It's a big question. It's a big ask. Right now, we can only speculate. So we appreciate each and every one of you watching. Once again, go down there, and if you'd like to join us here at Digest Media, again, digestmedia.ca/join us to apply. We've got openings in all 4 North American major sports, and I hope to see you on the team very, very soon. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.